Well, praise God. Welcome to KCWTheTruth.com. I am Elder Joyce Wilturner, and you are listening to Anointed Vessel Ministries, and we are just so glad to be here this morning. Hey, we're getting ready to enter into our Christmas season celebration, and a lot of you are doing all your shopping and spending all your money and getting all the gifts for your family and friends. But hey, let's not forget that Jesus is the reason that we celebrate this season. And let's give the gift of love to someone that may not be in a great place in this time of year, because everybody's not in a great place this time of year. And so, but today we are here once again. I am Elder Joyce Wilturner on Anointed Vessel Broadcast on KCWTheTruth.com, the best internet radio on the planet. And today we are going to be talking about mother-daughter relationships. And I am so excited about this topic and our guest today. I am just so grateful and so excited to have an awesome woman of God to help us with this conversation. And she is the founder of KIP Consulting Services, and she specializes in mother-daughter relationships. And Dillard, thank you so much for being with us today, and welcome to the broadcast. Hey, I know it's afternoon where you at, but it's morning where I'm at.
Good morning, Elder Joyce. Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on this platform with you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff.
Amen. Amen. Well, you know, I just want to go ahead and get into this conversation, because I had a conversation with you some days ago that just left me dealing with me. Okay, I done talked to my family. I done had a conversation with my family because I wanted to know if they experienced what I experienced, and it generated a really good conversation with my siblings. My mom has gone on to be with the Lord, and I had the experience to talk with you, and just in the midst of a conversation, nothing planned, just in a conversation, you took me on a journey, and it led me back to my childhood, to my mom, and to identify something that I wasn't conscious of. And it took me back to the place of my childhood, and to the place where I could identify some things with my mom, where we connected and where we disconnected, and how that related to me as an adult. And that was amazing, because, you know, we think we okay. We think we fine. We going on with life, and we're just, well, I thought I was okay until I went back to that place to discover you're not okay, because you have this underlying issue that you didn't realize that's impacting and affecting how you dealt with your daughter, how you dealing with life in general. And so that's what Dr. And well, she's not doctor yet, but I'm calling her doctor. She's on her way to be a doctor. But yeah, Sister Dillard, first of all, I just got excited and started talking and rambling. Tell us about you, about yourself, and your journey, and how you come to where you are with the mother-daughter relationship. Just tell us about yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Elder Joyce. And yeah, thank you for creating that space that we could be there in communication with each other, right? Because that's what happened. And no agenda was planned, but the I believe the Holy Spirit met us there
Yes,
and took
yes,
us on a
yes.
journey. So my name is Ann Dillard. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm licensed to practice both in the states of Minnesota and in Georgia. And in my practice, I've been working before even becoming a therapist. I worked with women, young women, teen girls, had my own teen program, worked for several teen girls programs over the years because for some well, it's not for some reason, I did not understand was that my own experiences was preparing me and paving the way for the work that was ahead for me to do.
Yes.
Not understanding that. And that is so critical that we understand that our experiences are not for loss, right?
Mm,
Our experiences are really creating who, if we just hang in there with it's creating, they're helping to form and create who we are and to bring out our gifts and our talents and our calling. And
mm-hmm,
so I grew up in a loving and tumultuous, if you can have that at the same time, environment. Because, and I say loving because I think my parents did the best they knew how to do, and tumultuous because in that doing the best, it wasn't what I've experienced was, a lot of chaos. Migrated to the United States at a young age, and that just totally dysregulated me and it sent me into a tailspin because I found myself losing or having lost what I knew to be true, right?
mm,
Because we were in pursuit of the American dream, and these are the things that we want to do, but it came at a high cost, right? I don't have regrets about that. I celebrate that journey now, but going through it, it was pretty hard for a 13-year-old
mm,
young girl who felt disconnected. I'm grateful for the church that I found in Waterbury, Connecticut, and the saints of God there who took me under their wings and try to help me grow and develop who I am. So I'm grateful for that. And fast forwarding, traveled, did a lot of work, went to school for business, but and built a family. I was a stay-at-home mom for 12 years. And I was determined to not do some of the things that my mom did. I was determined to raise my kids in this loving Christian environment with strong values and belief system. And I did that, but not without certain. A lot of it came at a cost,
okay.
because what I didn't realize that without intentionality and without unlearning some stuff, when stressful situation comes along, you divert or you
Mm,
revert to what you knew to be true,
wow.
right? And so that's how that generational pattern continued in my family,
Wow.
right?
So you have daughters?
I do. I have one daughter. She was my firstborn. And, I was like, yes, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I messed up. I made some big mistakes, and I did some really good things. So you can hold both polar opposites at the same time. I did some great things, and I was a great mom, and I also fell short in a lot of areas as well.
You know what? And I think we do do that.
Mhm.
I have a daughter. She is my only child, and um, me as well. I as well. I fell short, and I think the most hurting thing is for me as a mom was I didn't realize I was falling short. Right? I didn't realize it. I was doing what I knew to do based on how I was raised and
Yeah.
based on how my mom raised me,
Mhm.
um, but a little different. But I think the hardest thing for me is one day my daughter began to tell me how I fell short, and
Mm.
that was like eye opening. And then to just keep my mouth closed and receive it, not believing that's what I did.
Yeah.
Because you're going kind of like a denial, then you go defensive, and then, you
Yes.
go through all of
You
that.
deflect.
Yes,
Right? That is so true. And you did so great. You said, "I kept my mouth shut and receive it," and that was hard. And that is where a lot of moms have a difficult time because, we in a lot of cases, we think if our daughters are telling us where we fell short, that makes me a bad person or
exactly.
right? And so in that's I do a lot of preparation with mothers to be able to sit with that discomfort and hear their daughters in that space because at that intersection, at that very junction, that can determine the course of your relationship. Because if you're not able to hear that hard stuff, and say, oh no, that's not how it was, or that, if you deflect and things like that could cause further hurt and damage to the relationship.
Yeah, because at that point, it hurts. It hurts.
Big hurt.
Yes, but it becomes not so much about me. I guess that's an example when the Bible tells us we have to die to ourselves,
Daily.
die daily. That would be an example of that. It's like you die to your will, desire for the good of somebody else. But let me go back. Let me just go back some. What's the important of a mother-daughter relationship? Hey, yeah, tell us how did
Yeah.
you get started on that and what's the importance of it? Yeah.
Yeah, I got started. Well, I worked a lot with teens, and then at one point I went back to grad school to learn about, how can I develop or understand some things that will help my teenagers have some more lasting effect on the things that we're training them, the self-esteem things. I want to understand it differently. I knew how to work with them, but I want it to last, and I wanted a deeper understanding. And so I went back to school to become a marriage and family therapist, went on to be licensed. And a few years ago, maybe 4.5 years ago, my husband and I moved to the state of Georgia, and I got new business exposure and was invited to be a part of an anthology. It's a book with 12 different authors. There were 12 Black women, and we wrote this book about. It's called Unchain My Legacy,
Mm,
and right, and we each spoke about what is in our DNA that we need to unchain so that our legacy moving forward can be healthy. So my goal is to create a legacy of health, emotional health, and wellness. So my chapter in that book, what I wish I knew when I was 13.
mm.
And that's the
Wow.
question that I ask women across the world. What do you wish you knew when you were 13? So I asked my daughter that. And much like you, I was like, whoa, I thought I was doing okay. Right. And you're just giving her permission to be open and honest without any backlash, without any punitive actions, right? because
Right.
we can get nice nasty
Right.
sometimes as mothers. We
Right.
can, and passive aggressive, but just
Mhm.
opening up that space for her to be able to share without her even have to worry about taking care of my emotions during this,
That's good.
right? Because what we find in this work is a lot of daughters will not share their true feelings because they do not, that's the last thing they want to do is hurt their mothers. And
Right.
if you are not emotionally ready as a mother to navigate this journey, then it turns into a session where she's trying to edit herself to take care of you while she was trying to set herself free.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that is so good. And that just took me back to, years ago when I was coming up with my mom. It's like we didn't even have space or room or permission or even think about doing anything like that, And so I wouldn't, yeah. And when you talk about being careful about expressing and saying, I can remember wanting to say things, but wouldn't say things or be careful how I said things because back then you might get popped in the mouth or hit, slap, or told
Exactly.
off or
Mhm.
whatever. And then my mom was not very expressive when it came to um having conversations or expressions of love or anything like that. I just went back into that journey and remember that. But no, that is so true, and that's a space compared to when I was raised and compared to now. That space is there, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I had a woman once she's in her 60s. She said, "I cannot start my healing until my mother dies."
Wow. Wow.
Right? She's like, "There's no way I can formulate the words or even think of sharing with her the things that have really hurt me."
Wow. Wow. So what is that saying about us as mothers?
Oh wow. It says that, we have work to do and we have to do our own work, right? We have to do our own work and we have to realize the individuality in our daughters to know that they're a whole individual all by themselves. A lot of times we think, oh, we have a daughter. I was watching TikTok. I've been into TikTok lately.
Me too.
Right. So I was I was watching. I have to stay up with my teens, I need to
Right,
know what's
right,
going.
right.
Well, I use that as excuse, but no, I do enjoy some of the stuff on
Right,
that
right.
channel. So so anyways, I was watching, and there is this one TikTok that came up that said, we have daughters, so we'll have lifelong best friends who are someone who's always there, and
Mm,
things like that. And I look at that message and I see how, on one hand it's such a good message, but then on the other hand, when we think from the daughter's perspective, it carries so much burden.
yes, I can imagine. My mind just went to something, when you talk about best friends and when I look at us being best friends, we're doing things together, we're very close and all of that. My daughter don't want me with her like that. You know what I mean? It's like I remember when I thought me and my daughter's gonna be best friends in my mind, and she started getting in her teens, and I thought I woke up and I planned our day and what we're gonna do, and we're gonna go here. And she told me, no, I want to go with my friends because they going over here. Do you know that really hurt me?
Yeah,
Because my life was attached to her life and she was getting older and she didn't see me. I was her mother. She didn't
yeah.
want to hang out with her mother because
Right. Right. And sometimes, if we're not careful, we bring our emotional baggages and we expect our daughters to have the capacity to hold those things.
Right.
And they don't. But in a lot of cases, they'll end up sacrificing themselves to
Wow.
please us because that's what they want, to please their moms. They don't want to hurt their moms.
Wow.
They want their moms to be proud of them, to validate them, to be happy with them, right? And they don't want to disappoint. And so if that daughter has not been taught about her individual self and given to prioritize her voice, then she
Mm.
will sacrifice herself.
Wow. You said prioritize her voice. And so that's good. So there is space or should be space for her to have a voice. Talk about that because, we hear, I'm the parent, you the child, I'm the mama, you the child. And, it's what I say. Talk about prioritizing your daughter, your child, prioritizing that voice. What does that look like? What does that even look like?
Yeah, that and I know for some people who are listening, they're probably like, "Oh, you're teaching them how to be a smart aleck, or you're teaching them how to
Right.
be grown."
Right.
But no, we're teaching them how to be individuals
Mm,
because that looks like allowing your daughters to have an opinion, to say no,
mm.
not just
No.
to everybody
Tell your mama
outside,
no.
but to you as well, right? Because when we want our daughters to say no to sex, no to drugs, no to
Mm.
distractions,
Wow.
no to peer pressure, we want them to say no to all these things. But how do they get that training? When do they
Wow.
when do they get the space to be able to say that?
Wow.
Right. And I think the more we become healed as mothers, the more we can hold that space for our daughters to be able to say, no, mom, that won't work for me.
Wow.
Or no, mom, I don't think that's a good idea. Right.
Wow.
Because it is when as a mother, in my experiences and in the work that I've been doing, what we notice is when that abandoned part of you is unhealed, and your daughter, who is supposed to be your best friend, a lot of people will say, oh, my daughter changed my life, she saved me, all those different things, and then she had the nerve to say no. Then it awakens that abandoned wound,
Wow.
that wound of abandonment. And then now you're like, oh, she's disloyal, oh, she's disrespectful. Not that she's finding her voice or she's finding her ways or she has an opinion, but we'll add some guilt to it to say, oh, you're rude, you're disrespectful.
Wow.
And
And
that is just because our abandonment wound has been rubbed up against.
wow. Oh, that's good stuff right there. So it really has nothing to do with the daughter being disrespectful. It all has to do with where I am. But sometimes we don't even realize that's where we
No.
are.
We don't. We don't. Because, if our daughters are able to say no to us, they can also, be selective in the relationships that they're in. Then they don't have a problem standing up and not attracting the people who have the potential to be domestic abusers.
Mm,
Right? They
wow.
can they can they can learn what is okay for them, what feels good in their body. They can not push down that intuition. You know how, because there hasn't been space made for us as good daughters to have feelings and big feelings, right? We learn to push down our intuitions. We learn to push down those things in our gut that's created by
Wow.
God to help guide us, and we
Yes.
learn to override that. So when we start overriding that and editing our feelings around that in our relationship with our mothers and our parents. And when we're told that, no, you're not supposed to feel that way, or you're not right, and you know in your gut that something is off here, then
Right.
you learn to override that in different circumstances. I see red flags, but no, I need to be a good girl. I need to do that. I'm going to override those red flags.
Wow. Wow. That's deep stuff. Wow. How, you know, and even in what I mean, you just unpack so much. I'm just, even for a mother that may be listening, and all of that you just unpacked about a mom that needs to how. Let's go back. Okay, let's just go. I'm sorry, you just messed me up with all that. It's okay. So let's go back to you talk about the
Yeah.
mom that needs to be healed. What are some things that I can do to recognize that, hey, it starts with me, not with my
Right.
child. It starts with me at a place where I need to come into reality of who I am, get my healing, stop looking at my child, stop looking at them, saying they're disrespectful, and whatever I'm saying about them, they're talking back. It's like, how dare you talk back? And look at me as a mother. Where does that start at?
Wow. That is a journey, and it's a hard place to start, right? Because again, we don't have space for our daughter's trauma, because if we face them, we have to face our own,
Mm,
right? And accept the fact that some things has happened in our lives that we've pushed down and been made to push through and not deal with. And so unpacking those things to say, who am I?
mm,
Who
mm.
am I? How do I show up? How do I show up in relationships? What's
Wow.
missing in my life? Am I counting on my children or my daughter in particular to meet those things? When I feel sad about certain things, what's the root of those sadness? Right? What is going on in my life? What issues do I need to address? Because none of us is perfect,
Right.
right? We all have issues that we need to address. And yes, we pray about it. Yes, we put it on the altar. Yes, we lay it at the cross. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we also have to work through it. We
Right.
have to address those things, because again, if we don't, those things will burst out in so many different directions,
Right.
and will cause a mess.
Wow. So it's being willing as a mother to, I'm just going to put it this way, get in the mirror, look at myself, and figure out what's wrong with me. I'm just putting it that way. What's wrong with me? And it's kind of like the experience I had with you the other day is going deep and uprooting
Yeah.
that stuff that's not, you don't know that's there. It's there, and because of life experiences, it's pushed down so far down that you forget it even was a part of you, that it is a part of you.
Yeah.
So, and that's what happened to me. It's like it was so liberating, hurtful, scary, but I had to go there. It's like you took me there, but I was willing to go there, and it I'm telling you, it's so I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. It was such an awesome experience. So
Yeah.
talk about that.
Well, here's the thing. I also, while we're talking about mother daughter and mother daughter relationship, what I also don't want to be careful of is that it doesn't come off that I'm shaming mothers. I'm not shaming mothers. I'm saying that there are things that we need to look at. And
Right.
so instead of saying what's wrong with me, I would say what has happened to me
Mm, okay.
along this way that
Got
has
you.
caused me things that I might not even be aware of,
Right.
right? That has caused me to show up in my relationship with my daughter in this way.
Got you.
Right. And so what has happened to me because mothers were once daughters.
Okay. Right. Right.
Right. And
Right.
some stuff, and if God bless you if you've had the perfect childhood and you didn't
Right.
have to go through some of these things, that is a blessing, right? And it's a blessing if if you have gone through things as well,
Mm-hmm.
because those things will help to to create and to heal and to make you the person that you are, right?
Right.
So I think being able to look at yourself, use introspection, turning the mirror on yourself inside to
Mm.
look at yourself and say, what is going on? How am
Mm-hmm.
I feeling? Am I even in touch with my feelings?
Okay.
Right, because we've been in a lot of cases been commissioned to push down and to stifle those feelings for so long. And not only that, and if we're talking about particularly Black mothers who have had to deal with so many oppression in our lives, sometimes we're just in survival mode
Mm.
and just doing our brain is just in survival mode, just doing what we can from moment to moment just to survive,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
And so a lot of moms will tell you, I didn't have space for that. I was just trying to survive,
Right.
right? And so we want to honor that. We want to be sure to honor that and say yes, understand, and understand that you weren't even aware of those things, and now here we are.
Yes. Yes. Wow.
hmm so
Wow.
that we have to also honor those experiences, but then say, and these are things that can be helpful. And
Right.
these are some of the things that I would appreciate in our relationship.
Wow. In our mother-daughter relationship. And so let's talk about the daughter. Me saying that, uh, what you just said about some of the things we want in our relationship. Talk about that. What are some of the things me I, me as a mother, uh, when I'm having that conversation with my daughter,
Yeah,
or we're having a conversation, what are some of the things that we should be desiring in that mother-daughter relationship or
yeah.
looking forward to moving to?
Yeah, it's something because I have a mother-daughter community on Facebook. It's called
Mm,
Building Authentic Mother-Daughter Relationships.
mm,
And in my work and in the research that I've done, women of all ages have reported that the number one thing that they would like from their mothers is just to be validated.
wow. Wow.
Just validation. You're doing a good job. I'm so proud of you. You are an amazing person. You're not a mistake.
Mm,
Uh, it wasn't your fault. I'm here for you. I hear you.
wow.
Just
That's
you're
amazing.
enough. Just can you imagine hearing from your mom, you're enough?
Right. You know,
Yeah.
and going back on the journey that we had, that was one of the things that I did not hear from my mom,
hmm
because I knew my mom loved me, but she was not expressive in her with us as kids. We didn't hear "I love you." Those words were not spoken. She expressed it in buying us things. That's how she expressed love. But when I bit back, I could not remember a time where my mom said, "I'm proud of you," or she validated what I did, or expressed love. And I can really see what you're saying, how important that is, because coming up, I was always in search of that.
Yeah.
Everything I did was stemmed out of that. I wanted somebody to
Yeah.
recognize me, somebody to validate me.
Mhm.
And it I can tell how that over the years of my life, years and years and years, that impacted me. And so that's amazing that you say that the number one thing is validation.
Yes, yes. And also, a non-judgmental relationship,
Ooh, that oh yes.
right? Because you I don't know, growing up in church, you can have a mama who can look at you and you feel that judgment just cut from head to toe. Some of those church mothers can look at you and you just feel like you have sinned and come
Right,
short 100 times.
right, right.
Right? But to be able to have a non-judgmental relationship where somebody looks at you with just admiration, even though, you may not be doing everything right, but you can look at you in acceptance, admiration, and to say, I know you'll figure it out.
Wow. Wow. So what does that look like? So if I sometimes as mothers we express ourselves and don't realize we're being judgmental.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't. And judgmental, in our judgment of our daughters, we don't necessarily realize how that affects their nervous system
Mm,
and rewire those neurons in their nervous system. So a lot of times, daughters who have moms who are judgmental, they are hyper vigilant.
mm,
They're always looking for, what I did wrong, hard to make decisions, second guessing themselves,
mm,
right? They are subject to giving up their personal power because they don't value what, they bring to the table. They're
mm.
always looking for approval, and people pleasing behaviors are right up there with those qualities.
Yeah.
And they judge themselves harshly. So sometimes they'll be preemptive in their judgment. I know you're going to judge me, so I'm going to judge myself. And you can't judge me as harsh as I can judge myself. I'll show you how harsh I can judge myself.
Yeah, you're right, because when our listener says, she says, we don't realize it because as mothers, we feel the world is judging us on how we parent.
Yeah. Yeah, because mothers, they're supposed to be a hero. They're supposed to have all the answers. And society puts such a burden on mothers and don't make much space for mothers to make mistake, right? Somebody, you're out in public and you see somebody acting up, you're like, I wonder what kind of household they came from.
Right, right, right,
Right? And
right,
that goes right back to blaming mom for them acting a clown in
right.
public. And so a lot of times there's not enough grace given to moms or a platform for moms to say, I'm having a hard time with this, or I
Mm,
just don't know how to do this. We've been called as mothers to figure it out, create, and do it all. And when you're done, do some more.
right, right, right. You said something from minutes ago. Is it okay to let our daughters know that we're in a hard place right now? We're not um in a good space. Is it okay to have that conversation with our daughters?
I think it's really important. That's one of the things my daughter told me. She said, I had this, it would have been nice to know that you're struggling sometimes, because I had this image that I had to be perfect or I had to
Wow.
live up to this.
Wow.
Right. And
Wow.
so, can we have that trusting relationship where we are allowed to be vulnerable? Right. But sometimes when we have issues with our own vulnerability, we create an environment where our daughters can't be vulnerable.
Wow. Wow.
And vulnerability is not weakness. I love Dr. Brene Brown's work, and she talks about shame and vulnerability. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's like the strongest act of courage to be
Mm.
able to show yourself to someone.
Yes. Yes. Wow. So we could be vulnerable with our daughters and let them know we're not super moms.
We're not
And then we're not
super,
even trying to be super moms.
right? Because sometimes, it's just, I'm just trying to fake it till I make it.
Right.
in a lot of in a lot of cases, but we don't necessarily have those conversations because society say you need to do more, prove more, do better, be superhero, be here, be there, and then run across town. And then in that, we don't necessarily even show our daughters how to properly love themselves, how to use
Mm.
self-care, how to do those things, how to set boundaries. We don't show our daughters how to set boundaries because of the way that society has called us to be,
Mm.
right?
Wow.
And we can stop,
Wow.
because we repeat what we don't repair.
Oh, I like that. I took that. I saw that on your website. Yes, I love that. We repeat what we don't repair. And so, as mothers and daughters, we want to be healthy and we want to get healing. Now, let's go back to the validation. So, what's the next thing daughters look for in
Right,
relationship?
the validation, then the non-judgment,
Mm-hmm.
right, of their daughters, and just unconditional acceptance, right? And how does that look? It starts really young, when how your daughter might come to you and say, "Yeah, today school was hard," and then as a mom, you might find yourself automatically saying, "What's hard about school? When I was in school, I had to walk, da da da. Now you all have computers, you all have this. You don't have no reason to complain about school."
Right, right.
Right. And so again, we start to center ourselves, and that was invalidating to her experience.
Mm.
Right. And not accepting of her experience. Okay, so tell me more about what you experienced that was hard. What made it hard? Tell me more about that.
Wow. And, so what I'm hearing a lot too through this is that it's about communicating with each other, but properly communicating um, with our daughters, and then allowing our daughters to communicate and be expressive and be free um, in their conversations with us without us being judgmental and non accepting, which is a
Yeah,
big space.
it's a big space. Again, that comes back to, you have to, you know, find a way to be happy with yourself, or to be accepting of yourself, so that you can accept other people's emotions and the space that they want to take up. Right.
Yeah, you said something, being happy with yourself. It all stems from them, from there, our relationship with not just our daughters, but with other people as well, when we're happy with ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And earlier you talked about, what does it look like to do your work? And sometimes you only know what you know. You only see what you see. And so I'm a big advocate of people going to counseling, having somebody who's well trained to hold space for you and to walk you through this journey, because sometimes it's too much for you to try to navigate on your own and to, awaken those things. A lot of us as moms, people in general, are afraid to open up what they call Pandora's box because they think they might, there's a big fear of getting stuck there and not knowing what to do or how to navigate that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having a mental health professional to walk you through that space, much like we did in our interaction together, you don't
Yes.
have to worry about that stuckness or feeling like you're in a downward spiral or a decline. And
Mm-hmm.
that opens up so much more space for healing, for free flowing acceptance and love when we go on that kind of a journey.
Wow. There's a question that says, what age are your daughters ready to have that conversation?
Hmm. I think it's never too soon to start having that conversation with your daughters. Of course, you do age appropriate interactions with her so that she's learning her voice, she's learning how to understand and how to navigate, of course, respectfully, right? Teaching her what does respect means to you, what does that look like, how do you address certain things. I think a lot of times the mistake that we made is like we will do or raise our daughters and in a certain way, and then when they get a certain age we expect them to just flip the script and okay, now we can be friends, now we can understand each other. I think the sooner we have those kinds of understanding and vulnerable relationship, I think the easier it will be for us and them.
Wow. So how young can they be to see or to know our areas, or to see us be vulnerable? It should that start young as well?
Of course, I think so. It starts with you yelling or raising your voice when you're angry, and then you pause in and say, "Mommy's so sorry for doing that. That was
Mm,
not the right way to
mm,
handle that
mm.
situation. I'm
That's
feeling just
good.
a little overwhelmed right now, and it's
That's
not
good.
your fault."
That's good. So it starts young.
It starts young.
Yeah.
It start it's not to say if you haven't started, you shouldn't start, right?
Right.
Because I
Right.
have clients in their 70s who are just starting to work on this. So
Wow.
it's never too late to start, but this becomes a natural part of your life, a natural
Wow.
part of your communication, right?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
And someone wants to know if you're taking new clients, and yes, she is, and she is so smooth. She's so wonderful. You
Thank
don't
you.
feel condemned. You don't feel beat up on. It's wonderful. I just had a little bit, and I was just talking to her, and it wasn't planned. It was just having a conversation, and she's so wonderfully pleasant, and just the environment, it's non-condemning. You're not shamed. It brings an awareness. It brought about an awareness to me. It was such an awareness that I went to my siblings and we had a whole family conversation around my mom, and we all came, and it was an awakening for them, and it was like, wow. And we all had similar experiences, which was good. When we love our mom dearly, and we were able to have this conversation, and we all said, oh, we love our mom dearly, and we pointed out the wonderful things that she did for us and the relationships that we had, but we were able to identify, hey, this where this sparked from, hey, this where that came from, and then it led to my dad. So it was a great conversation to have. So I encourage you to
Yeah.
get with, I keep calling her doctor because she is a doctor.
Well, to God be the glory. That is
Okay.
so great that you had that experience because it should not be condemning, right? We shouldn't be condemned for doing things that we are not even aware of that we're doing. We do need to exercise more grace with each other and with ourselves.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. You
Mhm.
know, so it's about creating that space, and you're a blessing. And I encourage our listeners, get with Dr. Ann. Even go to her website. She has some awesome things on her website. I was going through her website and I was just blessed by the articles and the information that she has on her website. She's a wealth of information. I encourage you, mothers, daughters, connect with her. Let her into your life and into your mother daughter relationships and strengthen it. It's about strengthening the
Amen.
relationships. It's not about tearing down, making you look bad, like she said, shaming you, blaming you, or
Mhm.
any of that. It's about strengthening and encouraging us to be the best that we can be at whatever point of life that we're in. It's not too late. And we have run out of time. I can't believe we've run out of time. But what I want you to do, Ann, is right before we close out, give some last pointers to our listening audience, and then also let them know how they could connect with you, because I really want them to connect with you. Your ministry is awesome. And then you also talked about that mother daughter circle. If some of them want to get involved with that, how do they get involved with that?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Elder Joyce. And thank you for having me on this platform. It's a blessing to be here. And if you are a mother and you are, or a daughter, you can start with a simple conversation. What kind of mother would you like me to be to you right now?
Mm, that's
And
good.
that's opening up yourself, but also know that you can make it through. You can make it through this. You can make it through hearing the hard stuff, hearing the hearts of your daughters, and also be able to give her what she wants. Remember, if you're just starting out on the journey, remember that in your adult daughters, your mother's voice is, one of the strongest voices that you will hear in your life. And mothers, you can choose, do you want to be her inner champion or do you want to be her inner critic voice?
Mm,
Which one do you want to
wow.
be? Do you want to be her inner champion or her inner critic? If you want to be her inner champion, start out with being just as compassionate and as understanding as you can be to her, but also to yourself, because she'll
Wow.
pick up on how you are treating yourself.
Wow.
Right? And you become her mirror. So, to find out more information about my services, consultations are available. Therapy is only available to people in Georgia or in Minnesota because those are the states I'm licensed in. But you can also sign up for mother daughter consultations, and you can get all my information at my website, www.andillard.com. That's www.andillard.com. Lots of resources on my Instagram page or on my YouTube channel. Lots of resources. So check them out. It's all andillard.lmft. No E on and, just ANN Dillard.lmft.
Amen. Please connect with Ann. Go to her website. A lot of great resources on there. Hey, she even has some on there for the holidays. Self care for the holidays. What is it called? Grieving self care. What's the title of it?
Yes, activities for self-care, grieving during the holidays, different things like that, grieving activities, and lots of resources on grieving.
Yes. So please connect with her. It's her name. So just go to www.andillard.com. You're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. That's all I can say is, and I can't believe we're out of time already. And thank you for taking time to come on and share your ministry with us, and the wealth of knowledge that you have. I am just so grateful to you. And our listeners are grateful. And I'm getting some awesomes. I'm going to get him some. I wish my mom had those tools coming up. And, we need this conversation. And some of the points that you brought up, it's amazing. So thank you so much. You to our listeners, thank you for listening in. And I am Joyce Wilturner on Anointed Vessel broadcast, and you are listening to, what are you listening to? Anointed Vessel broadcast on kcwgthetruth.com, the best internet radio on the planet. And we are thankful for she's on her way to be a doctor. We're thankful for Ann Dillard being with us today from KIP Consulting, talking about the mother-daughter relationship. And please reach out to her. And Dr. And thank you so much. God bless all of you. And tune in next week for another broadcast with Anointed Vessel Ministries. God bless you. Have a wonderful Christmas and Merry Christmas to all of you. God bless you.